Hello everybody, guess who's here? The Lazy Boys is here, and today I'm going to be going over my thoughts on the balance changes in Clash Royale, October 9th, 2017. So this update coming in October, I think it's going to be a bit after the 9th that the actual update itself will come with all the new features, with the balance changes are going to go live on the 9th. It's a really big one, and we haven't had a big update like this in a few months. And it's going to add a lot of new modes, add a lot of new interface, and just basically add and tweak and rework a lot of the things that have been in Clash Royale since the beginning. Like one thing, the free chest, there's no longer going to be a free chest. Instead, it'll be free things in your shop, like pocket of gold, whatever, 200 gold, 10 gems or whatever, like a free epic card, which isn't value at all compared to the free chest, but they're also adding quests, which are kind of like taking over for free chest, and you can get like super magical, legendary, epic. You can get like all these chests from it, which makes it, which I don't know if, because in order to do the quests, you need to do like really specific stuff that most of the time you're just not going to want to do. Who wants to like use Valkyrie and goblins in ladder, in like 30 times or whatever? No one wants to do that. So it's like with a free chest, you just log in, get your free chest, log out, like request cards and stuff, donate. But with quests, it make like you're not gonna do your quest every single day. You're off, maybe sometimes you just like won't do a quest, and then that basically the only way that quests offer more value and cards and legendaries and everything than free chests is if you do it every single day, which nobody has time to do every single day. So onto the balance changes, I think it's a very weird set. Like I'm not a huge fan of these balance changes, but I'm also not opposed to like some of them. So Sparky hit speed increased to 4 seconds from 5 seconds, and damage lowers. That's a buff, obviously, but that's also kind of a nerf, in a way that it can 3-shot a tower instead of 2-shot a tower, and it will make Sparky a bit more viable, but Sparky still isn't going to be used. You know, everybody will carry Electro Wizard, Zap, Lightning's, as you can see down bottom, Lightning isn't as good now, but I don't think Rocket one-shots it anymore. I think they changed the Rocket so it doesn't one-shot Sparky, which is a very big buff. That basically just buffs Sparky 100%. But it's weird because I don't see Sparky being used whatsoever. I mean, like maybe some, but it's not going to be in the top 200 more than once or twice a season. Tesla, damage 30%, hit speed to 1 second from 0.8 seconds. It has the same DPS. It just It just 2-shots minions instead of 3-shotting minions, and it 2-shots goblins instead of 3-shotting stab goblins. And I really don't know how to mute my notifications sometimes. So there's the schedule for the big house. But okay, sorry about that. But Tesla, again, it's not really a good building at all. I may be proved wrong, but again, I just don't see Tesla being used because of this. It needs a rework. It needs like to be able to shoot 2 things at once. It needs to stun. But then Clash Royale is saying, no, we can't have a rework, because Tesla's just a common card. You know, something like two lightning bolts, you can shoot 2 things at once, or like a stun mechanic, that's something that would be like a rare or like an epic building, not a common building. So they're just making, I mean, it's better, I guess, but it's still just cannon's better. You know, it's cheaper. Inferno Tower melts things. Even Bomb Tower is just a pain to deal with sometimes, but Bomb Tower still isn't really that good in the current meta. Electro Wizard, they just basically nerf Electro Wizard every single time. It's going to be worse, but not by a margin that you're even going to notice. You know, I haven't really, like the past 3 balance changes, they've nerfed Electro Wizard, like, oh, damage goes a bit down. First attack comes out slower. But it's like, the Electro-Wizard mechanic itself, its ability to stun, its ability to shut down troops, to zap when it spawns in, it's just a broken mechanic. And it's just always going to be there unless they rework it somehow, which I don't see them doing. So Graveyard, after the last balance change, they like nerfed it, so less skeletons come out and it doesn't last as long, which was a direct nerf. And now they also buffed bats, and they buffed they buffed one other card. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it just made it a great counter to the Graveyard. And so, like, they're adding new counters to the Graveyard, and then they're nerfing the Graveyard, and then, like, they're buffing cards that can now, like, take out a full Graveyard by itself. It made Graveyard not a viable win condition. But now, and the reason that it wasn't, it's a weird win condition is because it's random. The skeletons spawn wherever in that circle. They just spawn randomly. But now they close the radius, so it will always be like basically directly in the center, or like shifted to the right a bit of the tower or left, depending on which side you're attacking. And so you're not going to activate their king tower anymore if you want to do like a risky center. If you like, before you could like place the Graveyard in the center, like the midpoint of the circle, you could just put it like on the tower, and skeletons would, in theory, attack the tower quicker. But then you could also run the chance of a skeleton spawning in the top left or the top right and activating the king tower, which then the tower itself will shut down Graveyard. But that would be like with 10 seconds left or something if you really need to take that tower. So the first skeleton spawns half a second slower. That's kind of like a big deal, I guess, but it's also less random, and it's smaller, and you get an extra skeleton. So overall, it's a buff, and I'm glad to see Graveyard come back as a viable win condition. Cannon Cart wasn't seeing any love at all. It was like, okay, there's one deck in the top 200 uses Cannon Cart like once, but that was it. Cannon Cart just is too expensive. It doesn't provide enough value. It is a cool mechanic, but it just wasn't good enough. They gave it more health, and so now it can like take an extra shot from like one random troop. Again, the thing where they couldn't not buff Cannon Cart because it wasn't being used at all, but they're afraid of over buffing it and it becoming like a must-have card in the deck, and Supercell is not like that. So with Lightning, I'm actually, myself, I'm really glad with this because I never use Lightning. I never use Lightning in any of my ladder decks. It's like too expensive. Like whenever you're on Lightning, it's either you're running Hog in some weird decks or Golem, and I don't run Golem with Lightning. I prefer to use Zap and Log with Golem just because it's cheaper and I like it more. And I run Inferno Tower in like basically all of my decks. So now I can just do like a 5-2 plant, and the lightning can't hit the tower and the Inferno Tower and reset it. So they need to choose, do I want to lightning the Inferno Tower? Do I want to lightning your tower itself? And damage went down. I think it doesn't one-shot Golemites now, which, no one lightnings Golemites. In its radius to, of course, 3 tiles. It went from an arrows to a freeze radius, to put that into perspective. Spear Goblins, I love this because I use Spear Goblins. I use Goblin Gang with Log Bait. I use Spear Goblins themselves. And they just like, sometimes you just place down Spear Goblins in the lane and they're like, do I zap it? Do I log it? Do I counter it? Or because like sometimes they'll have like 2 elixir and I'll like Spear Goblins in one lane, and then I'll like throw a Hog in the other lane, and it's one tower is getting a lot of damage dealt on it. But now Spear Goblins just deal even more damage because they just shoot so much faster. They already shot pretty fast because there's 3 of them, so even if it seems like they're like constantly throwing spears, that was because there were 3 of them at once, and they were like kind of staggered when they shot them. But now they're just gonna be like a machine gun, like throwing those spears. Hits air. It's great. I love Spear Goblins. Maybe now can even count a Graveyard. I'm not sure about that, though. So the last balance change is Valkyrie. Valkyrie was used in the Trifecta days, but after Trifecta just wasn't a good deck anymore. Valkyrie was not really used much, which honestly I've never really seen why. I think Valkyrie is a very, very underrated card, and it's a lot better than people think it is. They upped the damage, so now one shot's Princess and one shot's Bomber. I think Bomber or Archers, but I think she already one shot Archers. And that's pretty huge because now you can put a Valkyrie at the bridge when they place Princess at the bridge, and instead of like the Princess getting 2 shots, which was ridiculous, it'll only get 1 shot. Which a lot of times they place Princess at the bridge, you just take the damage. So overall, these balance changes, I think they're healthy for the game, but there really were no huge problems. Like, there wasn't like a Royal Giant problem they need to fix. There wasn't like a Expo problem they need to fix, or Giant Poison. There's no over-centralizing meta. You go to the top 200, there's like Logbait, there's Hog, there's Golem, there's Bridge Spam, and there's not really Minor Poison anymore, and there's a bunch of decks, which is great, and you really can't prevent that from happening. What are you going to do? Nerf? What did they nerf? They nerfed Lightning, they nerfed Electro Wizard, and that's it. There really was nothing to nerf in this update that really, really, really needed to be nerfed. Lightning was a problem for a while, but an Electro Wizard is just, you deal with it. It isn't that good. It's not. I would say it's probably in the top 5, but that's just because of its mechanics, as I said earlier. But I'm actually kind of looking forward to this balance update. Use my Spear Goblins. That's really the only card that I use really in my decks. But most of the time, I come out of a balance update, I'm like, one of my cards is getting nerfed. I'm going to need to play a lot better. I'm going to need to outplay the opponent even more than I already do. But now it's like, okay, extra damage for Spear Goblins. They're better now. I have nothing to complain. Nothing got nerfed that I use. Did it? No, actually, just nothing got nerfed, which I like. But of course they made other cards better, which in turn nerfs my deck, because other cards are now better, but that just happens with every balance update, and it really doesn't make that much of a difference. But with that, that's gonna be the video. I will try and make one of these for every balance update. I think the next update's coming January, maybe February, from what I heard on Reddit. But that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that. I think I just hit 40 subscribers, which is cool. I always say I might start posting more to YouTube, but I just kind of do it whenever. The Big House is going on right now. Make sure to definitely watch that if you're into Smash. But, alright, and there we go.